Bit of a special
Oh,
one.
very special, Colin. Very,
Well,
very special.
Yeah, you're making me blush now, girls.
The Conor the entrepreneur, liquid mule, creating the sweet, tasting carbohydrates, helping your threshold lactate, developing every runner's drinkable soulmate.
We're not calling you the special one, but you kind of are. Because, Conor, I followed you on Instagram, and I'll tell you my backstory of how I heard about Conor and Alter Nutrition. I was in the middle of the mountains in Northern Ireland in a 100-mile race, and the guy I was running with goes, "Have you heard of this lemon soda stuff?" And I was like, "Lemon soda what? This guy's hallucinating. There's something up with this guy." And then I realized that you're the guy behind this stuff called Alter Nutrition, this stuff called Speed Dust, which was brilliant. And you came to the NI running show. We had a chat, and you said you would support us on our Mizen de Malin 350-mile run, what we call the MS Runs Ireland project. And today we're here on the podcast. And Andrew,
Yes.
how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. And Conor, I met you at the running show. I bought 2 bags of your Speed Dust, and I'm down to 1 bag now of it. So that tells you how
Right.
much I'm enjoying it, my man.
Savage.
So-
I know. I'm delighted to get on the show because like when I was chatting to you at the show, I was like, I'd love that'd be a thing now. I'd love to get out and go for a day running with these boys. You know, you just get a feeling from somebody straight away. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Like, you know, it'd be fun and suffering. Good mix of both. Like, you know.
Oh, listen.
So you are going to join us, Conor. You have committed to join us for a day. Correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna get out to you. Yeah, I get out to you for a day and do a bit of running with you. Like, and hopefully it's one of the days that's like one of the days, that you're just like feeling really kind of crap, and we'll just get through it. Like, you know what I mean? And one of the things that I know about doing these types of challenges is sometimes you want someone to bring the energy, and sometimes you want someone to bring the silence, and you want just the sound of another pair of runners hitting the road next to you, and that's all you need. So we'll get out there and we'll do a bit of business, definitely.
Brilliant. And Conor, before we go on too far, you said you've got a bit of experience in this. Give us a bit about your background, about Conor's journey, and how you got where you did.
Yeah, so I once I started running, because I was always a all or nothing person. Doesn't matter what it is, like whether it's going out for pints. I was never a guy who's like, oh, we go for one. Absolute lies. Would always do the dog on it. It was just kind of one of those things where had to be like jump fully into the water, no toe dipping. So I got into running. Within 6 months, I ran my first marathon. I think 2 months later, I ran my first 100-miler, and then 7 or 8 months after that, ran my first 200-miler, and then it all kind of went downhill from there. Really, it just was. It was just terribleness after terribleness, and I all the while I was carrying this hip injury. Like, it's a genetic hip injury. Lots of people have it, where basically you grow too much bone on the spurs of your femur and your hip joint and stuff like that. And I was always suffering with that. And I did a project not too different to what you guys are doing. I did a project where I did 32 weighted marathons in 32 days in 32 counties, and I did that. And that's why I love this type of multi-day stuff, because you kind of have to be game for a long time, and you have to be, like when you're in a training block and you're 3 days into the week and you're like, do you know what? I'll move today's session to tomorrow. You'll take that day off. There's none of that doing this. It's like, oh no, we're just getting up and hammering it every day, but that's how I got into it. And then I kind of I nearly did what I did with Thai boxing, with running, and like ran until I hated it. So I almost destroyed my relationship with running and was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I had to kind of creep myself back, and so I took a bit of time off. I got surgery on my hip, and then kind of came back into running. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and do, like, get fast for me, like what would be fast for me and my body, like, so I was just trying to do that, and all the while trying to build Alter. And especially this year, as Alter has kind of taken off and has, people have started to use the product. My running now is really when I can get out, like, all best laid plans of mice and men. Like, if I have, 4 or 5 runs on the week, like, if I get 2 or 3 done, I'm not going to kill myself over it. Like, I'm not going to, before, I just would have been berating myself, as we tend to do, like, and thinking, Jesus, I should have gotten out for that run. And I'm like, right, sometimes priorities change. But like, what I do like still, and what I know I have firmly in my mind's eye, is giving myself an opportunity to do something like you guys have done, where you go, right, next couple of months now, it's all or nothing. Like, there is nothing going to stand in my way of getting this done, and I definitely still have another one of those projects in me. And that's why I love talking to people about this type of stuff, because it's just an actual bona fide adventure. It's real life adventure, and it might be in your backyard. You might not be catching flights, you might not be taking transcontinental trains, but it's an adventure of the body and the mind, and of yourselves and your friendship and all these things. So it's very exciting. Like, and I think you're going to have a great time doing it as well.
And Conor, 32 marathons, is that right, what you said?
32 counties. So it was one day after another. So we started in Dublin, begrudgingly. It was just a geographical thing. So we started in Dublin on day 1, and we actually went straight up north. Then we went up northbound. We went to Louth the next day. And so what we were doing was, we had a weighted vest with 32 pounds in it, and after every marathon we take a pound out. So it was like, it was a metaphorical thing, really, because I was doing it for suicide awareness, and I was kind of like, it's like lightening the load. And what I am and have been a firm believer in since the start was, like, if you do the inner work on yourself, and you find a way of working through to a point where you kind of accept who you are, and you're able to kind of be in that best friend kind of mentality. And what I mean by that is, like, do you know, if you were ever like going through a difficult situation, you'd ask your best friend for advice, and usually they're going to be kind to you, and they're going to say, like, look, you did your best, or you had the best of intentions, or look, it didn't work out for you, but this, that, and the other. Whereas if we we were letting ourselves talk about it, we'd be kind of like, oh, you're yet again, you made another error, another mistake, and that kind of stuff. So getting into that frame of mind takes work, and it takes work within yourself. And sometimes you think you've done it all and you're in a great place, and then something happens in life and it takes you back there. So that's what that idea of the weight kind of came from, because I felt like throughout my journey, and running ran parallel with this kind of inner journey I was on at the time. I don't think running spurred the journey. I think it just gave space for it. And I was on this kind of journey of self-discovery on it. So it was really like, without getting too poetic about it, and a kind of an expression of how I was feeling about myself in the form of running, like, so and the best part about it was, I got to do it with my dad. It was perfectly timed. He just retired from the army. He spent 40 years as a soldier, and he had the opportunity to just have the summer off, to just come around the country with me and just cycle a bike next to me, make sure I was okay, feed me, do all the stuff, that I needed. And my wife was also pregnant with our first child, who was a boy. So I knew I was about to have a boy. He was due a month after I finished this thing. And I was like, it was just a crossroads, a cross section of life, where I was like, I was able to have this one-on-one experience with my father, who's, we're was 30 years apart, and my son is 30 years apart. And it was just a perfect time where I was able to kind of talk to him about me and my life and growing up and being a dad, and him being a dad to me, and me being his son, and then have the opportunity to have my first son come into the world a month afterwards. So I have really fond memories of it, for more than just the running part, like,
That's phenomenal, isn't it, Colin? Like, that's what a story, Conor.
That's incredible. And Having this running podcast, I've chatted to a lot of people, and everybody has their own reasons for running, for getting into running, for continuing to run. And, you know, a bit similar to your story, like Idiots Go Running podcast, if you don't know the back history of Idiots Go Running, if we rewind back when we started this, we failed Miz Malin. I failed Miz Malin the first time, but as Andrew puts it, it was a successful failure because Andrew was my crewman and he seen me pounding up the streets and the effort I was putting in, and Andrew's going, this is brilliant, this looks good fun. How I looked good fun. I was red, sunburnt as a lobster. I was tired, I was sweating, but I was eating 2 ice lollies. I remember you bought me the 2 fruit pastel ice lollies.
Well, they were good lollies, Colin. They were good lollies. That was a highlight, actually.
And you know what? From that moment, I felt crap. I'm basically feeling that. But Andrew then said, let's start a podcast. And then here we are.
Podcast, and I wasn't running, Connor. I had no intention of running. I was even an awful crewman. I was a shocking crewman.
Worst.
I shouldn't run and I shouldn't crew, and yet we started a podcast.
A subpar crewman with loads of heart. That's what I hear.
Loads of heart. Before we came on, you were talking about heart. Loads of heart. Little training, but loads of heart.
And Connor curried Weetabix. Now we're here. You obviously you're in the nutrition, so I'll let you hear about Andrew's nutrition. So you're in the 40-50 miles on the second day, Andrew, maybe the 40-50 miles second day. You're pounding the pavement, and I'm like, Andrew, I need some real food. So Andrew makes me this Weetabix. But what Andrew doesn't do is clean out the bowl, which we had chicken. No, it was some sort of veggie biryani, and it was curried. So I started eating this Weetabix. Have you ever had curried Weetabix before?
It's all the rage.
I didn't wash the bowl out well. The best thing about it was Connor. He was so hungry he had to eat it.
I ate the whole thing. So going on to Alter Nutrition. So how did you even start? Like, were you out running and you had this epiphany of going, I'm going to create speed dust or some sort of fuel? Or did you drink something that didn't taste nice and you thought, I could do better than this? What was your thoughts?
Yeah, like, so when I started running was 2017, so coming up on 10 years ago now, and I started with no knowledge of anything, what to do with anything, and I started by like drinking electrolytes, which was the worst thing because they made me feel really sick and they just didn't do anything for me. No, it gave me no energy. And then I started messing around with gels, but I was like, yeah, I'll have one gel, every run or whatever, every long run. I was completely undershooting it. And then anytime that I was trying to have more than that, I was having stomach issues, So I had no idea how to properly fuel the sessions at all. And even all the way up through until about 2021, I was really fueling terribly. And I had ran 200-mile races, 100-mile races, and no idea how to properly fuel them. But I kind of gotten to this stage where I was like, right, I have a knowledge gap here, really, right? And there's lots of different kind of, again, like crossroads and parallels with this story of like just kind of imperfect timing. And I started making my own fuel at home under the guidance of a endurance nutrition expert named Evan Lynch. He's well worth checking out. And I have a podcast myself, and it's called Flip the Script. And there's 2 episodes with Evan. So if there's any of your crew that wanting to listen to him, he just gives great, like really solid, like easy to understand layman terms advice on how to fuel, right? So he taught me how to kind of initially start mixing up my own mix of powdered carbohydrates at home. And then I started to read about the studies. I started asking him, like, could you send me on some of the literature that's around this? And I started to kind of figure out, okay, well, I'm going to start doing this, and I'm going to start doing that, and I'll put a pinch of salt, and I'll do this, that, and the other. And came up with a rough kind of mix that was kind of resembles what speed dust is today. and I was calling it run juice at the time because it was just making me run farther and faster. And so I then started to teach all my clients. I was coaching a lot of people on how to run ultra marathons, and I was telling them how to do it, and they were all getting on really, really well with it. And then, as I said, I found out that I needed to have hip surgery. So I ran the Kerry Way Ultra. It's a 200-kilometer trail race in Kerry. And I ran that, did really well, was delighted with it. Did really ran far better than I thought. But when I got to the other side of it, then I started to get ready to go for another training block again. My hip was in real trouble, like really, really bad. And so I kind of got an MRA where they inject your dye into your hip and all this kind of stuff. And they were like, right, Conor, if we do surgery now, we might be able to actually save you from having a replacement altogether, or we might save you from having a replacement until you're like in your 50s or 60s. I was like, okay, that seems like a no-brainer to me. Let's go and have this surgery. So I had the surgery, and so before the surgery, me and my wife, and this is just being very open, honest. I'm very honest on my own page about this kind of stuff as well. We were, like many other people, struggling financially, struggling to rent our house and to make sure that all the bills were paid and there's food coming in, and all of the bills that were coming in. And we were trying to kind of scrimp enough money together to kind of maybe in some point in time get ready for a mortgage application. So we had a small bit of money saved up, and I said to Mel, when I was told that I was going to have this hip surgery that was going to cost me €7,000, I had no health insurance or nothing, so that was going to cost me a big chunk of money to get done. I said, okay, here, after this hip surgery, I'm going to make Run Juice as a product for everybody. And I'm going to call it Speed Dust because I think that's a cool name. And she was like, all right, I'll back you, so I don't really kind of half-heartedly kind of do anything really. So I knew once I was making that step, and I think she knew as well. She was like, Conor's going to just, go hell for leather at this thing. And that's exactly what I did. And then it took me about 13 months to actually get it to the point where a physical bag of Speed Dust was in my hand. I think it was 14 or 15 months even, I'd say, of trying to get it together. And like so many times, and I always say to my wife, like we're very tremendously lucky people. Like money seems to find us, when we need it the most. I don't know what it is, but like certain things would happen. Like my buddies are videographers, and they'd ring me and go, here, we need a family for this shoot that we're doing. It's a paid shoot. Could you do it? And we go down and we make a couple of £100, and it kind of kept the savings intact while I was trying to get all this stuff together, which was so bizarre. And then we got our first bags. I emptied the savings account on the first order. And then we just kind of started to say to people, look, I've been using this for years. I've been using it for 5 years at that point. I was like, this has helped me to help loads of my clients have some, and use it in your training. And it was slow going at the start, like really slow going. And it wasn't like one of these overnight successes, but we were so lucky and so grateful that we had a few early adopters of people that just bought it and were like, look, I like this guy. He's sound. I'll buy his thing. Like, just fucking try it out. Like, and I got some feedback from people. It's like, Conor, this is incredible. Like, this is unbelievable. It's like, I've never had anything like it. It's just fuels me way better than anything I've ever tried. And those early adopters, they're basically still our business model to this day, is give a good product to people at a fair price, and they will shout about you, and they will help build the business for you. And so the first 7 or 8 months, like, we didn't advertise or anything. We just built the business off of the backs of our customers, which is absolutely incredible. They're like the people I get to meet. Even yesterday we were at the Bohermeen half marathon, and a guy came up to me, and he didn't even say a word. he had this kind of pursed lips and just stuck out his hand. And I grabbed his hand and I gave him a handshake, and he goes, "You have a customer in me for life because your fuel has changed my running." And I'm like, fuck, that's powerful, like, so that's the lifeblood of what we've done. So that's the whole story behind Alter. Alter was born out of playing mad scientist in my kitchen, being, and betting everything on red at the roulette table. And that was it.
Unbelievable. What an inspiring story. And what year then, Conor? When was the first bag sold? What year?
The first bag was sold on December 18th, 2024. And I started looking at it in late September 2023. That was when I started to kind of like go, right, how do you do this thing? Honestly, lads, like before I started Alter, and this is something I really want to be very clear to anybody about. I met this great 13-year-old young fella yesterday who's mad into business. He was just in the young entrepreneur for me and all that kind of stuff. And he loves business. He was chatting away to me about, how did you get started? And how did you find someone to package it? And how did you do this? All these beautiful questions that you just don't expect from a 13-year-old. But I want to say to everybody, I knew absolutely nothing about how to make what all these terms now that I know, fast moving consumer goods. That's the sector that I'm in. That is how to make a fast moving consumer good, how to set everything up. I had zero idea how to do it. I had loads of passion, loads of heart, and I had loads of belief in what we were doing. And I knew that the product was going to be great because we'd spent an awful lot of time on the formulation, first and foremost, following the studies on what was the best for absorption tolerance, and then also following our tongues and how it tasted. Because that was really important to me. Was one of the biggest pain points for athletes is, yeah, this fuel is pretty good. It's good on my stomach. But it tastes terrible, or the texture's awful, or something like that. So if there's anybody out there that's thinking, I would love to do this business, but I have no idea, or I have an idea for this next thing in I don't know, child safety, or I had something like that, find the people that are experts in that. That's what I did. I found Evan, I found food scientists, I found everybody that would help me with the formulation. And I built it on the backs of these people that are brilliant, they're brilliant people at what they do. And so if you can find the right brilliant person, they will help you do anything. And I'm still in contact nearly every 2 or 3 weeks with the food scientists that helped us first aid, or still the factory that makes us, still talk to them all the time on, continuing to refine the product, continuing to change it. And because one thing that I've gotten to know from being in business now, when you build a really good relationship with somebody, it's worth its weight in gold to you. If you've got a mutual respect and understanding that this person, that you and this person have a partnership, and you're both working towards the same goal, you're both human beings as well. So things might not happen, in the blink of an eye. Things that might happen yesterday, like every entrepreneur wants everything done. It'll get done. Actually, usually when things get delayed, they're actually done at the perfect time, because it's given you that opportunity to rethink things. So if you do want to start a business, don't let I've no idea how to contact suppliers, I've no idea how to get into. It's all out there. There's a big bad world there called Google, and it can help you in all facets of it. Don't be afraid of it, because everything looks like a mountain before you take the first step, and it did seem like a mountain to me. And there was probably 8 or 9 times where I was nearly putting the vehicle in reverse and kind of going, right, I think I'll back away now, and we'll just, I was kind of resigned to the fact, because I had made a promise in 2019. I never wanted to work for anyone else again, only myself. And I had a fully sure, I was like, right, this is it. If I bet the money on this and this doesn't go, I'm back to selling cars or doing something like that, just to look after my family, because working for myself just wasn't working at the time. And then luckily we had we had the great people to help us at the start, and they're all out there. You can find them, and then We had the tremendous customers that shouted from the rooftops about us at the very beginning, and they're the people that drove it on, you know. So sorry if that was a long-winded answer to your question.
No, it was great, and on Alter, because Colin, you knew about it before the NI running show. Won't lie, Connor, I had no idea who you were or what Alter was. You had a lovely booth. Colin really wanted to get to you, so we got to you, and I tried the lemon. And then I tried the raspberry. I was like,
Lemon
I'm
soda,
buying two bags. This is
raspberry
before you
Andrew,
decide
the name's right.
Sorry?
Lemon soda and raspberry rush. Get the names right, Andrew.
Oh, the full names. So I tried. I tried them. No joke. Absolutely delicious, Connor. So smooth. So nice. Micah, there's my kid. I told you my kid would make an appearance at some stage. 100%. So, but before you even decide the sponsors, I took it and I absolutely loved it. And every run now, and this is where I want to go into, if you don't mind, at the minute, whoever's listening, this is just for me, Connor, right? So every run now, this morning I was 9 mile running, okay, and I had 3 scoops in a 750 milliliter bottle. What does Alter do for me? Because I'm drinking it, I'm enjoying it, it seems to be working for me, it's helping me, but with our challenge in mind, how much should I be taking? I know that it's a very specific answer for me, but like I'm all in, as I say to Colin and Matt on this run. And how much should I be taking Alter, and what does it do for me?
So your body. So if we think about yours and my body as like cars, right? This is the way I like to explain it to people, right? So you're living up north. Let's say you wanted to take a trip to Cork, right? You pack up the car, you pack up the family, and the next stop is where? The petrol station, right?
100%. Steer at the minute. We'll not go into it, but steer, Connor.
It's steer at the minute. And you're going to go in there and you're going to fill up, hopefully, right? Because you're going on a long trip. So if you're getting ready for a long run, it's the very, very same thing. So your body's petrol tank is glycogen, right? So glycogen is what your body does when you take on carbohydrates or sugars. It goes, right, okay, we're going to need this later. So it moves it from your stomach, moves it from your digestive system into the muscle fibers, right? So if you ever eat a big pizza or a big huge bowl of pasta and you feel a bit puffy or you feel a bit bloated, that can be the glycogen that's kind of going into your muscles and stuff like that, right? So that is the petrol tank of your body. And so what Speed Dust does is it's like pulling the diesel nozzle out and just putting it into your car as you're driving, right? So it's continually topping that up. So the key is, can we start a long run or a long endeavor as like our tank full? So if you got it, you know, from E to F, can we get it all the way over to F here, full up, and have it starting the journey like that? That's first and foremost. And you can do that with your carb load. And so for people, it's a very easy way. I don't know your pounds and stone and all that kind of stuff, or kilograms or whatever, but if you're, let's say, like me, 80 kilos, and you want to do a carb load, it's approximately 10 grams per kilo of body weight. So 800 grams of carbs I have to take on, which is a lot in food. So Speed Dust then can help you make those numbers up in your pre-fueling. There's lots of talk about like, oh, you should start carb loading 3 days out or 2 days out. Actually, carb loading the day before is perfect, because if you start carb loading and you carb load properly, you're using uncomplex carbohydrates. Usually you're using a lot of sugar and very little fiber. What you could end up doing is blocking yourself up and getting yourself constipated. Is going to mess with your energy levels, right? So day before is perfect. Try and take on carbohydrate, 10 grams per kilo, and then you're set. In the morning then, have another serving, top up those numbers again, and you have a really good chance then of starting the day with a full tank. That's a huge part that people are not getting right still to this day, is they're not pre-fueling enough. So when they start, they're kind of empty, or they only have a small bit. And yes, they're doing a great job of fueling themselves while they're on the run, but they're already low on energy before they start. 2 to 3 servings in the evening before you run your long run. right? So I'd stagger it throughout the day. So I'd have like sugary cereal in the morning for my breakfast. Then I'd have a serving of speed dust. Then I'd have like bagels and jam. And then I'd have a serving of speed dust. And then I'd have a big bowl of pasta, maybe with some naan bread, like such starchy breads. They're really, really good ways of getting your carb numbers up. And that's what you guys should be doing every day after you finish your runs, and during and after and everywhere. It's just carbs, 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 carbs. No, you're going to need to recover as well. So protein, definitely, because you're running every day, protein's going to play a big part of it. For my 32 Project 32, I use chocolate milk because it's really high in calories, really high in protein, high in carbohydrates, and high in fat. So get 750 mils to a liter of milk, of chocolate milk, into you afterwards. Just sip away at it. If it takes you an hour and a half, 2 hours to get into you, just sip away at it. Sometimes your appetite just might not be there after the end, but just sip it nice and slowly. And so then when you're mixing up your bottle there now for your 9 mile, basically what you're doing there is just picking up the diesel nozzle, as I said, and just putting it into your car. Like, that's what's happening. So when that goes in, within 5 to 10 minutes, your body will have already expelled that from your stomach and started to put it into your muscles, like, you know. So the working muscles right then and there are being fed. And so what that happens then, and I'm sorry if I'm extrapolating on this too much, but everybody has heard of lactic acid or lactate or whatever, right? Lactic acid's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing. It's a byproduct of how your body creates and uses energy, right? And we all create it, right, at times. But what happens is when you get the burn, or your legs start to fail, or your body starts to start shutting down, that's when the lactate is not being able to be recycled or buffered, or whatever way you've heard it being said. And so your body needs to use lactate because it's not using oxygen anymore, right? So it produces the lactic acid. And what your body can do, if it's fueled and fit and has loads of heart, it will bring that lactate through your kidneys and through your liver and all that, and it will recycle it back, and you'll be able to use it again. And that's called lactate clearance. And you will have better. It's difficult to kind of be uncomplicated with this, but when you have higher levels of energy, higher levels of fuel, you'll have a better chance to reuse and buffer that lactate and keep yourself going stronger, going for longer and feeling stronger for longer. So fueling basically is just a good thing, and it's an epidemic, like, of people, especially women. You probably have a lot of female listeners that are runners, right? Like, they can suffer from what's called the female athlete triad, and that is menstrual cycle disruption, low bone density, and low energy availability, right? And it really, really affects women quite badly, because they have a very high need for fueling, because they need higher levels of body fat for metabolic reactions, all this kind of stuff. And one thing about that is, a lot of female runners that I've talked to have come in from the Weight Watchers slimming world type culture, where it's like restrictive, and it's not, it isn't a fuel yourself mentality that they've been given from that. And I'm like, us and Alter, and I'm tying in with some key female athletes and female nutritionists along the way, are like, we want female athletes to fuel better, feel healthier. You know what I mean? Feel healthier and feel better. And yes, like, if you need to take on calories, you need to take on carbohydrates, and put the diesel pump into the car, like,
Brilliant. So, Conor, I've been listening to you, and I've been focused on everything you've been saying, and I can honestly say that you can tell when someone's passionate about something, and like, your tone changes, you start speaking faster, and the passion's just oozing out of you. And everything you said about starting Alter Nutrition, your face lights up, everything lights up. And you even mentioned that the woman behind you, like you got to give a lot of credit to her sticking with you and supporting you, because that is, you need support in this life, and that is massive. My thoughts about speed dust is I've had all different types of carb drinks before. I've had this, I've had that, I've had different types of gels. And I can honestly say this, it's not because you sponsor us, it's not because you're sitting here, it's no other reason that I actually look forward to drinking your juice. It's
Nail in the head,
so
Colin. You're 100%. Yep. It's a treat.
when so I don't drink Coca-Cola outside ultramarathons, right? And I just don't. And then Andrew will tell you, when it comes to an ultramarathon, 100-mile race, the back of the car is filled with Coke, because I look forward to it. Coca-Cola. Just to clear that up.
And speed dust.
This year on our 100-mile race, Coca-Cola, it is too fizzy. It's not for me all the time. It does mess up my stomach, and that's what I will be replacing my 100-mile race with. Instead of Coca-Cola, it will be speed dust this year. I love your stuff. Okay. And the idiots go, idiots go, you've got another customer for life over here. You possibly have one in Andrew. Although he does a lot less running, he'll buy a lot less than me.
You won't make as much profit off me, Conor.
It's the lads with heart. They're usually not the customers, because they just run everything on heart. Do you know what I mean? They don't use the fuel, you know.
But so I would say that the taste is key with yours. So which brings me to this is an Idiots Go Running podcast. We've had your brilliant insight into lactate, into the carbs, into your fuel, into drinking the diesel oil. But I've got a section which I want you to answer a few questions for me, and it'll all become clear when I run the jingle.
Party in my mouth and flavor is the DJ. Yeah!
So this segment, I'm calling Party in the Mouth and Flavor is the DJ. So you're probably thinking, what's going to happen? Just so you know, Andrew wasn't sure about this segment. I am fully behind it. I am all in this segment. So
We'll see how this goes live.
We will see. I love the jingle. You've sold me in the jingle, Colin. But let's see how it goes. I'm as intrigued as you are, Conor. So here we go, Colin.
Andrew doesn't know. So here we go. So we have 3 flavors so far in Ultra Nutrition. We have lemon soda, we have raspberry rush, and we have plain Jane. Now, when I drink them, there's a party in my mouth. And if flavor was the DJ, if I drink the lemon soda, what song is the lemon soda DJ playing in my mouth? Take your time. Take your time.
I'm sure you've been asked this many times before, Conor.
Yeah. I would say it's going to be an oldie. Mambo Number 5 by Lou Bega.
Oh, it's good tune. It's good tune.
I think that would be like really like zesty, citrusy, bursting with energy type of vibes.
That's a tune. That is a tune.
That's a belter from the best.
Like,
that's a good answer.
I'm going to leave plain Jane to the end because it's a toughie. Raspberry Rush.
Raspberry Rush. What would that one be?
Oh, look at the thought process in the space. This is fantastic. This is just.
I feel like that one is like I'm gonna stick to the oldies and goldies, like, you know. Children, Robert Miles, you know, that might be the vibe, something like that along those lines. I'd say it's like, you know, maybe Sunshine, Dario G. That might be another belter, like something like with a bit of like, it's late night. It's kind of like, you know, like raspberry cordial, like what, you know, the drink of the day, like vodka and raza, you know. That would be the kind of vibes I think Raspberry Rush would be tipping out if they're the DJ.
A beach in Ibiza, and the DJ's playing Beach in Ibiza, and you're sipping some Raspberry Rush prepping for your, carbon for your marathon.
You've got your run in the morning, but right now it's party time.
Oh yeah. and then we come on to, I don't want to say it's my favorite, but I love Plain Jane.
It is my favorite. I'm going to say it right now.
The name's deceiving, actually, because it is so nice. But
yeah, we're throwing around like a name change. Would you believe? For that, because it doesn't do it justice. I love it. I like that it's different, and we're having a bit of fun with it. But like it's because it isn't plain. It isn't a plain flavor. It's a nice, like one of ours. Like, why don't you just call it original? Because it's because it's the original OG. It's not no added flavor. Like I'm trying to think.
Was that your original first flavor? Was Plain Jane?
It was the first two was Plain Jane and lemon soda, and then we added Raspberry Rush, and we're in the process of trying to think of we might try a summer kind of a flavor, just as a kind of a trial, just to see if people would like that, but I'm trying to think now what Plain Jane would play if it was a DJ. It would have to be something like surprising, something that like like it comes on and it changes the mood. Oh, I have it already. Dancing Queen, ABBA. That's what it would put on. It would be just like absolutely.
Yes.
You put that on and like
dance force filled.
Your Aunt Mary is just like, I'm gonna have one more dance before I go to bed. That kind of vibe, like so yeah, Dancing Queen by ABBA. I think that's absolute Plain Jane. Like that's written all over it.
I have to say, Conor, if Alter doesn't work out, DJing it could be very possible.
It could be the thing, like, you know what I'm saying? It was so funny. We had a very low key wedding, right? So we only invited like 11 people to the actual ceremony, right? And to the kind of afters. But then what we did then was we're gonna have just like a low key party in this hunting lodge in the Wicklow Mountains. And we just invited all of our mates up there. Like, look, no need for fancy dresses or 3-piece suits or anything like that. Just come nice casual wear. Let's have some pints. Let's have some prosecco. Let's listen to a DJ in the mountains, right? And I just said to her, I was like, look, I'm going to make your job very easy. This is a list of like 200 songs. Just play them, please. And it went down a banger. It was on it. She was like, yeah, absolutely love this. Can definitely get down with that. So it was class.
You see, if you're going to run with us today, Conor, you're the DJ for the day. Oh, yeah. What about that, Colin? Yeah. You bring the tunes.
100%. I'm going to make it, like, I'm mad for the Spotify playlists. So I'll make an old Spotify playlist, the MS Run, and I'll have it then, and I'll whip it out for the boys. And of course, we'll have to put the tunes that I mentioned here tonight on it, like,
Okay, long. So, Conor, I'm now expecting for you to turn up with a backpack with a speaker in it. I've seen people run with them, and the beats are. That's just, yeah.
I will belt it out of it.
Maybe that day we are hurting. Maybe that day we are quiet. But when you rock up, we'll put all the pain aside, and we will be dancing Queen.
I'll get some speakers and lob them into the back of the van, and we'll do it like Rocky style, like we'll have the Rocky theme tune playing like in the speakers in the back of the van, and I'll just be driving in front of you, like, shouting slogans like 90s slogans, push it to the max,
Love it.
I love it. And Conor, I'm aware that before we started this, everybody, we said half an hour, we'll sit about half an hour time. We're now sitting over that. I've had a blast. I realize we all have kids to get to bed because we are the ultramarathon entrepreneur rock stars of this world. But we've got to get our kids to bed, guys. We've got to get our kids to bed because, I don't want my wife upset with me.
That should always be the priority, but ahead of anything and everything is family. Inside the four walls of the house, boy, to look after that first and foremost. So yeah, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure, lads. Really, really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to joining you for one of the days now, and as you're taking this on, and we'll just have a crack.
Brilliant, Conor. We can't thank you enough, and for everything you're doing for us and have done. We so appreciate it.
I really appreciate your time, boys.
Conor, give us a shout out to if people want to try your stuff or contact you or find your website, or what event are you going to be at next? Where can people find you, see you, contact you, all of the above?
I'm actually up in, we're actually up doing a pop-up in Portadown. They have a running festival in on the 22nd of March. My wife and my sister-in-law will actually be the ones manning or womaning the tent. Because I'm going to be down in Dunboyne running a 10k with loads of heart, zero training, loads of heart at this 10k, and so I will. So that's probably the best one for people to see us at. Will be in Portadown, and we are at Alter Fuel. So at Alter Fuel on Instagram, and our website domain has also changed to alterfuel.com. And there's a new page that we put in how to use speed dust, and just like it's a full page of how it breaks it down to how to use it for loads of different sports. So if there's anybody that kind of wants to know more about it, log on, go onto that page, and it should answer all your questions.
Conor, thank you so much for your time today, and yeah, just the way you're supporting us in this run. Just so everybody knows, Conor just didn't bat an eyelid. He said, I'll support you. I love what you're doing. And you're the exact person that we want to support us. I've always said, it's not about money. It's not about getting your name out there. It's about people who just want to support you. And 100%. Conor, thank you so much for your time this evening.
No worries at all, lads. Thanks for having me on.